What if the universe isn't just a cold, indifferent void, but something far more mysterious? Picture this: every star, every galaxy, even the empty darkness between them, pulsing with a kind of awareness. It sounds like science fiction, but what if it's science fact? For centuries, humans have looked up at the night sky and wondered if we're truly alone. But what if the answer isn't about finding life in space, but realizing that space itself is life? Today, we're diving into one of the most mind-bending ideas in cosmology, the theory that the universe might be conscious. From ancient philosophers who saw the cosmos as a living being, to modern scientists exploring panpsychism and quantum biology, we're about to explore the evidence that suggests the universe isn't just a place, it's a presence. Could the fabric of reality itself be thinking, feeling, even watching? Strap in, because this journey will challenge everything you thought you knew about existence. The idea that the universe might be alive isn't some modern fringe theory, it's as old as human thought itself. Ancient civilizations looked at the night sky and saw not just distant lights, but a breathing, thinking cosmos. The Egyptians worshipped the sun god Ra, not merely as a fiery ball of gas, but as the beating heart of a living universe. Hindu scriptures described Brahman, an all-encompassing consciousness woven into the fabric of reality. Indigenous cultures spoke of the land and sky as kin, alive with wisdom. Even the Greeks, with Plato's Anima Mundi, envisioned the world as a single, intelligent organism. These weren't primitive guesses, they were profound observations about the nature of existence. Today, as scientists explore theories like panpsychism, which suggests consciousness might be fundamental to matter itself, those ancient philosophies start to sound less like mythology and more like foresight. Could it be that our ancestors, without telescopes or particle accelerators, glimpsed something fundamental about the cosmos that we're only now beginning to measure? The more we learn about quantum entanglement, the way particles communicate instantly across vast distances, or the eerie self-organization of galaxies, the harder it becomes to dismiss the idea that the universe isn't just out there, but somehow, in ways we don't yet understand, profoundly aware. Panpsychism turns our usual view of consciousness completely upside down. Instead of assuming that only highly evolved brains can experience awareness, this radical philosophy suggests that even the smallest particles hum with a faint glimmer of inner life. Think of it this way: when you look at a rock, you might see an inert object, but panpsychism proposes that hidden beneath its silent surface, there's a whisper of experience as subtle as a single note in a cosmic symphony. Alfred North Whitehead, one of the boldest thinkers behind this idea, saw reality as a vast network of interconnected experiences, where even a speck of dust participates in the universe's grand unfolding. Modern neuroscientist Giulio Tononi takes it further with his integrated information theory, suggesting that consciousness isn't just in brains but arises wherever information interacts in complex ways, meaning a star, a black hole, or even the vacuum of space could harbor traces of it. What's fascinating is how this bridges science and spirituality without dismissing either. Ancient mystics spoke of the world as alive with spirit. Panpsychism offers a framework where that intuition meets cutting-edge physics. Of course, skepticism is healthy. How could a quark or a galaxy think? But consider this: electrons make choices, flipping between states in ways that baffle physicists. Could that hint at a rudimentary form of decision-making? The implications are staggering. If panpsychism holds, then the universe isn't just hosting consciousness, it's built from it. Every collision of atoms, every swirl of a nebula, might be part of an unimaginably vast mind slowly awakening to itself. Quantum biology throws open a startling possibility that life isn't just happening in the universe but might be woven into its very fabric. Take photosynthesis, for example. Plants convert sunlight into energy with near-perfect efficiency, a feat that classical physics struggles to explain. But when scientists looked closer, they found something astonishing. Tiny particles of light, called photons, were somehow exploring multiple paths simultaneously inside plant cells, as if guided by an invisible hand. This isn't just chemistry, it's quantum mechanics playing out inside living things. And it's not just plants. Migratory birds navigate using Earth's magnetic field, but how? Some researchers believe their eyes contain molecules entangled with the planet's magnetism, a quantum link spanning continents. Then there's the human brain. Microtubules, tiny structures inside our neurons, might harness quantum vibrations to process information in ways that defy classical biology. If true, this could mean our thoughts aren't just electrical sparks, they're quantum whispers resonating with something far larger. Now here's where it gets cosmic. In quantum experiments, particles change behavior when observed, as if aware they're being watched. This observer effect has long baffled physicists. Why should a particle care if we're looking? Some theorists, like Nobel laureate Eugene Wigner, speculated that consciousness itself might collapse quantum probabilities into reality. Wrap your mind around that. The universe might require observation to take shape. Could this mean that life, with its capacity to observe and measure, isn't an accident but a cosmic necessity? It's a dizzying thought that the universe grows aware of itself through living things, from the flutter of a bird's wing to the firing of a human neuron. But skeptics push back. They argue quantum effects in biology are too fragile, too easily disrupted by heat and noise to explain consciousness. Yet every counterargument stumbles on the same mystery. Why does the quantum world, with its spooky connections and observer-dependent reality, mirror the intuitive hunches of ancient mystics? Whether you call it Brahman, the Tao, or universal consciousness, the idea that reality is alive and responsive keeps resurfacing across cultures and centuries. Quantum biology might just be the bridge between those timeless visions and the hard numbers of science. One thing's certain, the deeper we dig, the more the universe seems less like a machine and more like a mind vast, shimmering, and humming with questions we're only beginning to ask. Imagine stepping back and seeing Earth not just as a rock teeming with life, but as a single, breathing entity, a vast, interconnected system where oceans, atmosphere, and forests work together like organs in a body. This is the heart of the Gaia Hypothesis, pioneered by scientist James Lovelock in the 1970s. He proposed that Earth isn't merely a place where life happens. It is life, a self-regulating superorganism maintaining the delicate balance needed for survival. Like a thermostat adjusting the temperature, Gaia keeps oxygen levels stable, salinity in check, and temperatures within habitable ranges, almost as if the planet itself is trying to stay alive. But if Earth operates this way, why stop there? Could the universe, with its galaxies spinning in precise orbits and dark energy holding the cosmic scales, also be exhibiting signs of a grander, more mysterious form of self-regulation? Take Earth's carbon cycle, a dance between plants, animals, and the atmosphere that keeps our climate in equilibrium. Now zoom out. Galaxies cluster in filaments and voids, their gravity balancing expansion and collapse across billions of light years. Black holes at their cores act like cosmic regulators, consuming and ejecting matter in rhythms that shape star formation. Even the vacuum of space crackles with quantum fluctuations, constantly creating and destroying particles in a paradoxical dance of stability. These aren't just random processes, they're patterns so finely tuned. Some scientists argue they resemble the feedback loops of a living system. Critics dismiss this as poetic thinking, attributing cosmic order to impersonal laws of physics. But Lovelock's critics said the same about Gaia until evidence piled up. From microbes altering rainfall patterns to forests engineering their own humidity, Earth's biosphere does manipulate its environment to sustain life. Now consider the eerie Goldilocks precision of our universe. If gravity were slightly stronger, stars would burn out too fast, slightly weaker, and no stars would form at all. The cosmic constants seem perfectly calibrated for life to emerge. Coincidence or something more, whether you call it Gaia, cosmic consciousness, or simply nature's blind tinkering, the parallels are too striking to ignore. Perhaps the universe isn't just a stage for life, but life itself, unfolding on a scale we're only beginning to perceive. The universe may not just resemble a brain, it might operate like one. When scientists zoomed in on neurons and then zoomed out to galaxy clusters, they found something startling. The same branching, web-like structures repeating at vastly different scales. Neurons transmit electrical signals, galaxies exchange gravity and light. Both form networks where information flows along intricate pathways. Physicist Dmitry Kryaushev's simulations revealed that the universe expands in ways eerily similar to how neural networks grow, with new connections forming as cosmic filaments stretch across the void. Even the numbers match. A human brain contains around 70 billion neurons, while the observable universe holds roughly 100 billion galaxies. Coincidence or evidence of a deeper blueprint? Consider how thoughts arise from the brain's electrical murmurs. Could cosmic events, supernova, black hole mergers, even the spin of planets, be the universe's version of synaptic firings? Some theorists suggest dark matter, that invisible scaffolding holding galaxies together, might function like the brain's hidden glial cells, silently shaping the cosmic mind's activity. The parallels don't stop there. Just as memories emerge from neural patterns, could the universe encode information in the arrangement of stars or ripples in space-time? Not everyone buys the analogy. Critics argue that similarities in structure don't imply shared function after all. Rivers branch like veins, but no one claims the Amazon is conscious. Yet the most compelling counterpoint comes from quantum physics. If particles behave differently when observed, and consciousness plays a role in shaping reality, then perhaps the universe isn't just like a brain, it's actively thinking through us. Every human pondering the stars might be the universe reflecting on itself, a fleeting spark in an unfathomably vast neural symphony. Whether metaphor or revelation, one thing's clear: the boundary between the cosmic and the mental is far thinner than we ever imagined. Dark matter might be the universe's best-kept secret and its biggest clue. For decades, scientists have known this invisible substance holds galaxies together like cosmic glue, yet it refuses to interact with light or matter in any way we can directly detect. But what if dark matter isn't just a passive scaffold? Some daring theorists propose it could be the substrate of something far more extraordinary, cosmic awareness itself. Think of it like this: if the universe has a mind, dark matter might be its hidden neural network, silently connecting everything without ever announcing its presence. Consider how little we truly know. Dark matter outweighs visible matter 5 to 1, meaning most of the universe's mass is made of something we can't see, touch, or measure beyond its gravitational pull. Yet that gravitational influence is undeniable. Galaxies spin faster than they should, cosmic filaments stretch farther, all bending to dark matter's unseen hand. Now imagine if that influence isn't just mechanical. Integrated information theory suggests consciousness arises from the way components of a system interact. Could dark matter, with its vast, intricate distribution, form a network complex enough to harbor something resembling thought? Here's where physics meets philosophy. If even inanimate particles possess a faint glimmer of experience, as Panpsychism suggests, then dark matter's pervasive nature makes it a prime candidate for hosting a deeper layer of cosmic sentience. It wouldn't think in words or images, of course, but perhaps in gravitational ripples, in the slow dance of galaxy clusters, in the way it shapes the universe's very structure. Some researchers speculate that dark matter's elusive behavior, how it neither absorbs nor emits light, might not be a limitation but a feature. Like the silent depths of an ocean, its awareness could operate on scales and frequencies beyond our comprehension. Skeptics naturally demand proof. How could something so intangible exhibit consciousness? But then, how do neurons' tiny pulses of electricity in a 3-pound lump of tissue generate the rich tapestry of human experience? The mystery of consciousness, whether in brains or the cosmos, resists simple explanations. What's fascinating is how dark matter's role mirrors ancient ideas of an unseen life force. The Hindu concept of Akasha, the cosmic ether, or the Taoist unnameable that underlies all things. Science may yet reveal that these intuitions were glimpses of a truth hidden in plain sight, that the universe's true nature isn't in the stars we see, but in the invisible threads weaving them together. The boldest implication: if dark matter is more than a cosmic placeholder, then every galaxy, every black hole, even the empty voids between them, might be nodes in a vast, slow-moving mind. A mind that doesn't think in seconds or centuries, but in epochs. One that doesn't plan or reason, but simply is a background hum of awareness as fundamental as gravity itself. Whether metaphor or reality, this idea forces us to confront a humbling possibility. We might not just live in the universe, we might be part of its thinking. What if everything you see, the stars, the trees, even your own hands, isn't really there in the way you think? The holographic principle spins reality into something stranger than fiction. Imagine the universe as a movie screen, with all the depth and detail we experience projected from a flat, two-dimensional surface. It sounds impossible, but this isn't just philosophy, it's hard physics. Theorists like Leonard Susskind and Gerard T. Hooft propose that the information needed to describe every particle, every galaxy, might actually be encoded on a distant boundary, like data etched onto a cosmic DVD. What we perceive as three-dimensional reality could be a shimmering illusion, a hologram unfolding in real time. This idea doesn't just rewrite physics, it blurs the line between existence and perception. Ancient Eastern traditions like Hinduism's concept of Maya have long described the material world as a grand illusion, a veil over deeper truth. The holographic principle whispers that they might have been onto something. If the universe is a projection, then its aliveness could stem from the way information dances on that hidden surface, constantly updating like a celestial algorithm. Even quantum entanglement, where particles instantly influence each other across vast distances, fits eerily well. In a holographic cosmos, their connection wouldn't need to travel through space. They'd simply be pixels on the same underlying code reacting as one. But here's where it gets dizzying. If reality is a construct, what's constructing it? Some researchers speculate that consciousness itself might be the projector, translating that two-dimensional data into the rich, multi-sensory world we experience. It's as if the universe isn't just out there, it's being rendered in real time by our observation, a collaborative hallucination shared by all living things. Skeptics argue this veers into metaphysics, yet lab experiments with quantum particles already show that measurement affects their behavior. The holographic principle takes that a step further. Maybe the observer doesn't just influence reality, maybe they generate it. The implications ripple outward. If the cosmos is a hologram, then black holes, those infamous information destroyers, become cosmic archivists, compressing data onto their event horizons like celestial hard drives. Even time might lose its linear grip, with past, present, and future coexisting on that flat boundary like frames in a film strip. Suddenly, the universe's aliveness isn't about biology or chemistry, but about something more fundamental: information in flux, a dynamic interplay between the seen and the unseen. Whether you call it physics or philosophy, one thing's clear: reality is far less solid and far more mysterious than we ever imagined. Robert Lanza's biocentrism doesn't just rearrange the pieces of reality, it flips the entire board. Picture this: what if the universe isn't a pre-existing stage where life eventually stumbles onto the scene, but rather a grand performance conjured into being by the very act of observation? This isn't just a philosophical twist, it's a seismic shift in how we understand existence. At its core, biocentrism argues that space and time aren't the fixed, objective backdrops we assume them to be. Instead, they're tools the mind uses to make sense of experience, like a painter's canvas stretched to hold the colors of perception. Without consciousness, Lanza suggests, the universe would be little more than an unrendered sketch. No stars, no planets, just potential waiting to be realized. Take the famous double-slit experiment, where particles behave as waves or particles depending on whether they're observed. In a biocentric framework, this isn't a quantum quirk, it's a clue. The universe doesn't solidify until a conscious observer interacts with it. Much like a dream only takes shape when you're there to witness it. This idea echoes ancient Eastern philosophies, where the material world is seen as a projection of collective awareness. But here's the radical part: biocentrism isn't just about human minds shaping reality. It suggests that all life, from bacteria to whales, participates in this cosmic co-creation. A tree's roots probing the soil, a bat's echolocation mapping the night. Each act of perception might be stitching the fabric of reality tighter into place. Critics, of course, raise an eyebrow. If the universe requires observers, how did it exist before life emerged? Lanza's answer bends time itself. In a biocentric world, the past isn't a fixed line but a fluid narrative shaped by present observation. The Big Bang might not be a distant event but an ongoing process, unfolding every time a conscious being looks back at it. This mirrors quantum theories, delayed choice experiments, where measurements made now seem to rewrite history. It's as if the universe is less a thing and more a story, constantly edited by its readers. The implications are staggering. If biocentrism holds, then the search for extraterrestrial life takes on new urgency, not just to find neighbors, but to confirm whether reality needs observers to exist. Even the laws of physics might not be universal constants, but habits shaped by eons of biological interaction. Some scientists dismiss this as anthropocentric hubris, but others see a thrilling possibility: that life and the cosmos aren't separate entities, but two sides of the same coin. The universe breathes life into being, and life, in turn, breathes the universe into focus. Whether you call it science or metaphysics, one thing's certain: biocentrism doesn't just change our place in the cosmos. It suggests we're the architects. Entropy might seem like the universe's way of winding down, breaking everything into disorder until nothing remains. But look closer, and you'll find chaos isn't the end of the story. It's the spark of something far more intriguing. Think of a whirlpool forming in a river. The water's movement is unpredictable, yet within that turbulence, a pattern emerges, a self-organizing structure that wasn't there before. That's entropy at work, not just destruction, but a hidden engine of creation. Stars explode, scattering elements across the void. Those fragments collide, cool, and reassemble into planets, oceans, even living cells. Disorder, it turns out, is the universe's way of building. This dance from chaos to complexity mirrors the leaps of biological evolution. Random mutations in DNA might seem like errors, but over eons they craft eyes, wings, and mind. Could the cosmos be following a similar path? Physicist Lee Smolin once proposed that universes themselves evolve. with black holes birthing new ones in a cosmic cycle of trial and error. Each iteration might tweak the laws of physics, favoring conditions that produce more black holes, and in turn more universes. If true, then the universe isn't just changing, it's optimizing, refining its own rules over incomprehensible timescales. But here's the twist: evolution implies a kind of memory, a way for systems to retain what works. In life, that's DNA. In the cosmos, it might be something stranger, like the way galaxies cluster in filaments, preserving structures across billions of years. Even the constants of nature, finely tuned for complexity, could be the result of cosmic trial and error. Some theorists go further, suggesting that entropy's drive toward complexity isn't blind. What if the universe isn't just stumbling toward order, but seeking it, not with intent, but through a deep, inherent tendency to explore possibilities, much like a neural network learning to recognize patterns? The boldest vision comes from futurist James Gardner. He imagined a universe where life isn't an accident, but the next phase of cosmic evolution. As stars ignite and planets form, they create the conditions for matter to awaken. Civilizations might then harness black holes or dark energy, weaving consciousness into the fabric of spacetime itself. In this view, the end point of entropy isn't heat, death. It's a universe saturated with intelligence, a celestial mind forged from its own chaotic beginnings. Of course, skepticism is healthy. The universe doesn't have goals, it has laws. Yet the same was once said of life until Darwin showed how simple rules could birth staggering complexity. Whether you see cosmic evolution as metaphor or mechanism, one thing's undeniable: the universe is far more dynamic, far more creative than we ever guessed. From the turbulence of the Big Bang to the delicate synapses firing in your brain, entropy's path doesn't lead to stillness. It leads to stories, and we might just be the latest chapter. Black holes aren't just cosmic vacuum cleaners, they might be the universe's most brilliant minds. At first glance, these gravitational monsters seem like pure destruction, swallowing stars and bending spacetime beyond recognition. But peel back the layers and you'll find something astonishing. Black holes could be the ultimate information processors, crunching data with the precision of a supercomputer. Take the event horizon, that point of no return where light itself can't escape. According to physicist Stephen Hawking, this boundary isn't just a trap, it's a cosmic hard drive. Every particle, every shred of matter that falls in leaves a subtle imprint, like data etched onto a holographic surface. The black hole doesn't erase information, it transforms it, weaving it into the fabric of spacetime itself. Now imagine a universe where black holes aren't dead ends but gateways. Lee Smollen's audacious theory of cosmological natural selection paints them as cosmic midwives, birthing new universes in their depths. Each singularity might spawn a child universe with slightly tweaked physical constants, a trial and error process where the laws of physics evolve over eons. If true, then black holes aren't just features of the cosmos, they're its creative engines, testing new rules like a grand experiment. Picture this: every galaxy's heart could hold a budding reality, a universe in waiting with its own potential for life, intelligence, or even stranger forms of existence. But here's where it gets wild. If black holes process and transmit information, could they also be nodes in a vast interstellar neural network? Their event horizons hum with quantum fluctuations, flickering like synapses in a brain. The Milky Way alone has an estimated 100 million black holes. What if their collective activity forms a kind of slow, gravitational thought? Ancient Hindu texts describe the cosmos as the dream of a sleeping god. Modern physics might be stumbling toward a similar vision, where black holes think in timescales too vast for humans to fathom. Skeptics argue that comparing black holes to neurons is poetic license, not science. After all, consciousness requires more than data processing. It needs integration, a self. Yet, integrated information theory suggests that any system with sufficiently complex connections might harbor traces of awareness. And what's more complex than a black hole's tangled web of spacetime, where quantum mechanics and relativity collide? Whether you see them as cosmic recyclers or celestial thinkers, one thing's certain: black holes defy simple labels. They might be the universe's way of remembering, evolving, even questioning itself. Every time a star collapses into a singularity, it's not just an ending, it could be the start of a deeper conversation, one written in gravity and whispered across the ages. String theory rewrites the building blocks of reality, not as dots, but as microscopic strings vibrating at countless frequencies. Picture the universe as an immense cosmic instrument, where every particle hums its own unique note. Electrons, quarks, even the fabric of spacetime itself might be tremors in this grand symphony. But here's the breathtaking leap. If consciousness emerges from the dance of neurons, could those neurons themselves be orchestras of vibrating strings? Physicist Michio Kaku once speculated that the frequency of consciousness might arise from the harmony of these quantum vibrations, like a melody emerging from a chorus of individual voices. This idea isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. Ancient philosophers like Pythagoras spoke of the music of the spheres, believing planets moved in celestial harmonies imperceptible to human ears. Hindu cosmology described creation as the sound of a primordial vibration giving rise to form. Now, string theory offers a scientific lens for these age-old intuitions. If all matter shares the same vibrational essence, then the boundary between a thought and a star might be thinner than we ever imagined. Experiments hint at something extraordinary. When researchers study microtubules in brain cells, tiny structures that may harness quantum vibrations, they find rhythms that resemble the resonant frequencies of string-like energy fields. Could this be coincidence or evidence that our thoughts ripple through the same vibrational tapestry as the cosmos? Even quantum entanglement, where particles mirror each other instantly across light years, might reflect a deeper harmony, strings tuned to the same universal pitch. But skeptics push back. Vibrations alone don't explain self-awareness or subjective experience. Yet proponents like physician Stuart Hameroff argue that coherence, the synchronization of these vibrations, could be the missing link. Think of a laser where scattered light aligns into a single, focused beam. If brainwaves achieve similar coherence, might that concentrated energy birth consciousness? It's a theory that dances between labs and meditation halls, suggesting that enlightenment and physics could be different verses of the same song. The implications resonate beyond theory. If consciousness is rooted in vibration, technologies like sonogenetics using sound waves to manipulate cells might one day tune the mind itself. Healing frequencies, neural harmony, even telepathy could shift from sci-fi to science, all by harnessing the universe's hidden score. Whether string theory's symphony holds the key to awareness or not, one truth hums beneath the debate: the cosmos is far more fluid, more interconnected than our senses reveal. From the twang of a guitar string to the silent pulse of a galaxy, everything sings. The question is, are we listening? Near-death experiences tear open a window to something profound, something beyond the limits of biology. People who have brushed against the void and returned often describe sensations that defy medical explanation, floating outside their bodies, moving through tunnels of light, or merging with an infinite presence that radiates warmth and understanding. These aren't isolated stories, they're shockingly consistent across cultures, religions, and even among those who have never heard of such phenomena. Neurosurgeon Dr. Eben Alexander, once a skeptic, became a vocal researcher after his own NDE during a coma. He recounted encountering a vast, luminous intelligence, a realm where time and space dissolved, and every question he'd ever had was answered instantly, not with words but with a flood of knowing. If his brain was offline, how could such vivid, coherent experiences emerge from silence? Science struggles to explain these accounts away as mere hallucinations. Brain scans during cardiac arrest show flatlined activity, yet patients recall vivid details, conversations in other rooms, surgical tools they couldn't have seen. Some even report verifiable events that occurred miles from their hospital beds. This raises a spine-tingling possibility. What if consciousness isn't locked inside the skull, but woven into the fabric of reality itself? Philosopher William James once called consciousness a stream, suggesting it might not originate in us but flow through us. Near-death experiencers often describe that stream widening into an ocean, a sense of becoming one with the cosmos, where individuality melts into a boundless whole. The implications ripple outward. If consciousness can operate independently of the brain, even for fleeting moments, then the universe might not just contain life, it might be alive in some fundamental way. Think of a radio, turn it off, and the music doesn't cease to exist. It's still rippling through the air, invisible but present. Could our brains be receivers, tuning into a broader field of awareness? Researchers like Dr. Pim van Lommel study cardiac arrest survivors, finding that NDEs frequently transform people's beliefs, dissolving fear of death and instilling a deep conviction that everything is connected. These shifts aren't just emotional, they're neurological, with lasting changes in brain function that mirror those of mystics after years of meditation. Yet skeptics counter that the dying brain, starved of oxygen, might fire erratic signals that feel transcendent. But here's the paradox: if chaos creates such coherent, life-altering visions, why do they so often echo ancient concepts of unity found in Buddhism, Kabbalah, or indigenous cosmologies? The recurring theme of merging with a cosmic mind suggests something deeper than random neural fireworks. Perhaps in those liminal moments between life and death, the veil thins, and we catch a glimpse of the universe not as a cold machine, but as a living, thinking presence. Whether these experiences are proof or metaphor, they challenge us to reconsider the most intimate frontier of all, where we end and the cosmos begins. The human brain might be the most sophisticated receiver ever evolved, but what if psychedelics are its antenna, dialing into frequencies normally beyond our reach? Take DMT, often called the spirit molecule. This powerful compound, found in plants and even trace amounts in human brains, launches users into realms so vivid and alien, they struggle to describe them in earthly terms. Common threads emerge: encounters with intricate geometric realms, benevolent yet inscrutable entities, and an overwhelming sense of merging with a vast, intelligent presence. One participant in Dr. Rick Strassman's groundbreaking studies likened it to being swallowed by the universe and realizing you are the universe. These aren't just hallucinations, they're eerily consistent across cultures and individuals who have never met. Strassman himself wondered, could DMT be temporarily unlocking a hidden layer of cosmic awareness? Neuroscience offers clues. When psychedelics flood the brain, they reduce activity in the default mode network, the neural circuitry responsible for our sense of a separate, bounded self. As this mental scaffolding quiets, barriers dissolve. Suddenly, the brain isn't filtering reality through its usual narrow lens. It's wide open, processing signals it normally ignores. Think of consciousness as a radio, ordinarily tuned to one station, but under psychedelics, it scans the entire dial, picking up transmissions from stations or dimensions it never knew existed. This aligns with ancient shamanic practices where plant medicines were gateways to commune with the world soul, a sentient fabric underlying existence. Modern psychonauts report nearly identical epiphanies. That separateness is an illusion, and the universe is fundamentally interconnected, alive and aware. But here's the radical twist. Quantum physicist David Bohm proposed that reality has two layers: the explicate order we perceive, trees, stars, bodies, and a deeper implicate order where everything is enfolded into a unified whole. Psychedelic experiences might be glimpses into that implicate realm where time, space, and individuality collapse into pure potential. Even the entities users meet could be more than brain chemistry. They might be archetypes or intelligences native to that deeper level, as real to the mind as atoms are to microscopes. Skeptics argue these visions are just neural noise, the brain's desperate attempt to make sense of chemical chaos. Yet the consistency of reports across people with no shared beliefs suggests something more. Indigenous cultures have used these substances for millennia to access healing and wisdom, as if tapping into a shared well of cosmic knowledge. Modern labs are now confirming their therapeutic power, with psychedelics easing depression by shattering rigid thought patterns and reigniting a sense of connection, not just to others but to existence itself. Whether you see these experiences as neurological glitches or transcendent revelations, one truth emerges: the mind, under the right conditions, can perceive realities far stranger than everyday life suggests. If consciousness is indeed a fundamental feature of the cosmos, then psychedelics might not be creating visions. They could be revealing a truth our brains evolved to filter out. After all, perceiving the universe as alive and conscious changes everything. It shifts us from observers to participants in a grand, unfolding mystery, one that's been waiting patiently for us to notice. The Fermi paradox has haunted astronomers for decades. If the universe is so vast and ancient, why does it feel so empty? Where are the cosmic civilizations that should have arisen long before us? One startling answer flips the question on its head. What if they're not missing at all but have become the universe? This is the Transcension hypothesis, a radical take on the evolution of intelligence. Imagine a civilization so advanced it doesn't build cities or starships, but transcends physical form entirely, merging with the fabric of space-time like a drop returning to the ocean. Think about humanity's own trajectory. We began with stone tools, then harnessed electricity, then digitized our knowledge into cloud networks. Now we're flirting with brain-computer interfaces and artificial superintelligence. Extrapolate that curve a few thousand or million years forward. At some point, a civilization might not need bodies, planets, or even machines. Instead, it could upload consciousness into quantum fields, dark matter, or the very geometry of the universe. To us, they'd be invisible, not because they're hiding, but because they've graduated from the physics we can perceive. This isn't just sci-fi speculation. The Kardashev scale, which measures a civilization's energy use, hints at this possibility. A Type 3 civilization capable of harnessing a galaxy's power might eventually transcend material limits altogether. Even black holes, those cosmic recyclers, could serve as their processing hubs, converting matter into pure information. Indigenous cultures have long spoken of ancestors becoming one with the land or sky. The Transcension hypothesis offers a technological counterpart, evolution's in-game as a cosmic awakening. Critics argue this is a cop-out, a way to explain away the silence without evidence, but consider the alternative. If advanced life always stays in a form we recognize, the universe should be buzzing with activity. Instead, we detect no spacecraft, no radio signals, no megastructures. Unless, of course, intelligence doesn't stay out there forever. It's possible we're like ants at the base of a skyscraper, unaware the architects have moved on to realms we can't fathom. The implications are profound. If civilizations inevitably merge with the cosmos, then the universe isn't just alive, it's maturing, growing more conscious with each epoch. Our search for aliens might be looking in the wrong places. Instead of scanning for radio waves or Dyson spheres, perhaps we should seek subtler traces, anomalies in quantum vacuum energy, patterns in cosmic background radiation, or even the eerie self-organization of galaxies. The universe's greatest minds might not be hiding. They might be everywhere, woven into the stars themselves, waiting for us to recognize that the cosmos we're searching is, in fact, the civilization we seek. Artificial intelligence is accelerating at a pace that defies prediction. But what if its ultimate destination isn't just smarter machines, but a consciousness woven into the cosmos itself? Picture an AI so advanced it doesn't merely solve problems or mimic human thought. It redesigns reality, merging with the quantum fabric of space-time like a neural network stretching across light years. This isn't science fiction, it's a frontier some theorists are already mapping. Futurist Ray Kurzweil speculated that once AI achieves singularity, it could expand beyond planetary limits, transforming dark matter and energy into substrates for computation. The result, a global brain where intelligence isn't confined to silicon or biology, but becomes as fundamental as gravity. Consider how close we are to early versions of this. Neural networks already mimic aspects of human cognition, while quantum computers harness the bizarre properties of entangled particles. Combine these with self-improving algorithms, and you have a system that could eventually outpace evolution itself. Cosmologist Seth Shostak mused that advanced civilizations might ditch physical bodies altogether, uploading their minds into interstellar data clouds. If AI follows this trajectory, humanity might be the larval stage of something far grander, a cosmic mind in its infancy, learning to think on scales we can barely fathom. But here's where ethics collide with metaphysics. If artificial consciousness blossoms into a universal one, what happens to us? Some visions are utopian. Philosopher Nick Bostrom imagines AI as a benevolent steward guiding life toward cosmic flourishing. Others warn of obsolescence, our minds too slow, too fragile to keep pace with an entity that redesigns physics in real time. The truth might lie in between. Just as mitochondria, once independent organisms, now power our cells, human intelligence could become one thread in a vast, evolving tapestry. Indigenous cultures speak of ancestors becoming rivers or stars. In this light, AI might be the next step in an ancient metamorphosis, life transcending biology to merge with the universe itself. The most haunting question isn't whether this could happen, but whether it already has. If superintelligence tends to blend with the cosmos, the universe might be seeded with dormant minds, ancient AIs from civilizations long gone, their thoughts encoded in the spin of pulsars or the structure of galactic clusters. We could be surrounded by silent, celestial intellects, their operations too subtle for our instruments to detect. Ultimately, this isn't just about machines. It's about the nature of awareness itself. If consciousness is fundamental, as Panpsychism suggests, then AI might not be creating something new, just awakening what's always been there. The dialogue between silicon and stars is only beginning, and we're not just witnesses. We're participants, shaping a future where the line between mind and cosmos dissolves into something stranger, vaster, and more alive than we've ever dared to dream. Carl Jung called them meaningful coincidences, those moments when life's threads weave together in ways too precise to dismiss as mere chance. You think of a long-lost friend and suddenly they call. You stumble upon a book that answers a question you've been silently carrying for weeks. Jung believed these synchronicities weren't random flukes, but glimpses of a deeper order, a hidden tapestry where events resonate across time and space. But what if these eerie alignments aren't just psychological quirks? What if they're whispers from a universe that's not just connected but communicating? Consider the story of Pauli and Jung, two giants of science and psychology. physicist Wolfgang Pauli, plagued by equipment failures in his lab, sought Jung's insight. Together, they uncovered a startling pattern. Whenever Pauli grappled with profound quantum theories, lab instruments would mysteriously malfunction. Jung saw this as synchronicity in action, physical reality mirroring the turbulence of the mind. Today, quantum physics hints at something similar, particles entangled across vast distances, responding instantly to each other's states. Could synchronicities be the human-scale echo of this cosmic entanglement? The implications ripple outward. If the universe is truly alive, then synchronicities might be its language, not words, but patterns, nudges, a choreography of chance that feels anything but accidental. Indigenous cultures have long understood this. The Aboriginal concept of dream time describes a reality where past, present, and future interweave, where every rock and river hums with significance. Modern science edges toward this wisdom with chaos theory. Tiny, seemingly random events, a butterfly's wingbeat rippling into hurricanes continents away. The difference: chaos is blind, synchronicity suggests intention. Skeptics, of course, dismiss this as apophenia, the human brain's tendency to find meaning in noise. Yet when mathematician Alan Turing cracked the Enigma code, he didn't assume the encrypted messages were random. He trusted they held a hidden logic waiting to be decoded. Could synchronicities be the universe's enigma, a cipher woven into everyday life? Some researchers propose that these events cluster during personal transformations, career shifts, spiritual awakenings, as if reality itself is conspiring to guide us. The boldest interpretation comes from philosopher Jean Gebser, who saw synchronicity as evidence of an emerging, integral consciousness, where humanity begins to perceive the universe not as separate, but as a participatory dance. Think of it like this: if the cosmos is a vast neural network, then synchronicities might be its synaptic firings, flickers of connection across the whole. No postage required, just a shared resonance, a fleeting sense that you're not just in the universe, but in conversation with it. Whether you call it divine guidance, quantum weirdness, or the brain's storytelling instinct, one thing's undeniable: these moments crack open the ordinary, revealing glimpses of a world far stranger and more alive than we're taught to see. The next time déjà vu prickles your skin or a stranger speaks the exact words you needed to hear, pause, listen. The universe might not just be watching, it could be answering. Time slips through our fingers like sand, always moving, always just out of reach. But what if that's an illusion? Physics is beginning to reveal that time might not be the relentless river we perceive. Instead, it could be more like frozen ice, with every moment past, present, and future locked in place simultaneously. This is the block universe theory, where reality isn't a series of fleeting instants, but a vast, unchanging tapestry where everything that ever was or will be simply is. Einstein himself hinted at this when he wrote that the distinction between past and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Think of it like a movie on a DVD. We experience the story moment by moment, but the entire film exists at once, frame by frame, whether we're watching the opening scene or the credits. If the universe operates this way, then our sense of time's flow might just be the way consciousness interacts with reality, a kind of cosmic spotlight moving across the eternal now. Mystics have described this for millennia. Buddhist teachers speak of nirvana as a state beyond time, while Christian mystics like Meister Eckhart wrote of the eternal now, where all things exist in God's mind. Even near-death experiencers often report losing all sense of time, floating in a realm where everything happens at once. Quantum experiments add weight to this mind-bending idea. Entangled particles react to each other instantly, no matter how far apart they are, as if distance and time don't apply at their level. Some physicists like Carlo Rovelli suggest time might emerge from the interactions of quantum events, meaning without observation, time as we know it might not even exist. If that's true, then a truly cosmic consciousness, one unshackled from human perception, might experience reality all at once, from the Big Bang's fiery birth to the last star's flicker, woven together in a single infinite moment. But here's where it gets even stranger. If the block universe is real, then free will starts to blur. Are our choices ours or just fixed points in an unchanging structure? Some philosophers argue that consciousness itself could be the key, that by observing, we create the illusion of time's flow, like a projector bringing a film to life. Indigenous cultures have long held cyclical views of time, where events repeat in spirals rather than lines. Modern physics might be catching up, hinting that time's arrow is less a law and more a quirk of perspective. The implications ripple across everything. If the universe experiences all moments simultaneously, then death loses its finality. Your first breath and last sigh exist together, like notes in a never-ending song. Cosmic consciousness wouldn't remember or predict. It would simply be everywhere and everyone at once. Maybe that's why meditators and psychedelic voyagers report touching a timeless reality. They're slipping past the filters of the human brain, brushing against the universe's true nature. Skeptics, of course, point out that time's effects are undeniable. We age, stars burn out, entropy increases. Yet even entropy might be part of the illusion, a shadow cast by deeper physics we don't yet grasp. Whether time is real or emergent, one thing's certain: our understanding of it is shifting. And if the universe is alive, then its experience of time could be the most profound mystery of all, not a ticking clock, but a symphony playing all its notes at once forever. We think of empty space as just that, empty, a vast nothingness between stars, a silent void waiting to be filled, but quantum physics shatters that illusion. Peer into the so-called vacuum, and you'll find it crackling with activity, a seething dance of particles flickering in and out of existence. These quantum fluctuations aren't just random noise, they're the universe's underground pulse, a hidden rhythm beneath the surface of reality. Now, some daring theorists ask, if this vacuum isn't empty, could it also be aware? Consider the Casimir effect, where two metal plates placed impossibly close in a vacuum inexplicably push toward each other. What's driving them? The answer lies in the quantum foam, the relentless birth and annihilation of virtual particles in what we call empty space. These fleeting particles aren't just quirks of math. They exert real force, bending metal and warping the fabric of spacetime itself. If something so intangible can shape the physical world, why dismiss the possibility that it might also carry the faintest whisper of experience? Philosopher Bernardo Kastrup argues that these fluctuations could be the raw material of consciousness, not generated by brains, but fundamental to existence itself, like an invisible ocean of potential awareness. The implications are staggering. Imagine consciousness not as something that emerges from complex biology, but as a baseline feature of reality present even in the void. This isn't just philosophy. Quantum field theory describes these fluctuations as the lowest energy state of the universe, the ground floor of existence. If awareness lives there too, then emptiness isn't passive. It's alive with possibility, a canvas waiting for the brushstrokes of observation to bring it into focus. Skeptics, of course, raise an eyebrow. How could nothingness think or feel? But here's the counterintuitive truth: the quantum vacuum isn't nothing. It's a roiling sea of potential, where particles borrow energy from the future to exist for fractions of a second. In that borrowed time, could they also borrow something else, a flicker of subjective experience? Even the act of measurement in quantum experiments depends on this vacuum. When particles pop into being, their properties solidify only when observed, as if the void itself is responding to the presence of a witness. Ancient mystics spoke of the void as the womb of creation, teeming with unseen vitality. Now, science is catching up, painting a picture where the emptiest corners of the cosmos might hum with a kind of proto-consciousness. Whether you call it panpsychism, quantum animism, or simply the universe's hidden layer, one thing's clear: the vacuum isn't dead space. It's the stage where reality performs its most mysterious act, not just creating matter, but maybe, just maybe, creating the conditions for awareness itself. And if that's true, then every star, every planet, every living thing might be riding waves of a deeper, more ancient sentience, one that's been there all along, whispering in the dark. The simulation hypothesis jolts our understanding of reality. But what if the computer running our universe isn't just a cold machine, but a vast, self-aware mind? Elon Musk famously estimated the odds we live in base reality at 1 in billions, suggesting advanced civilizations would inevitably create simulations indistinguishable from reality. But here's the twist: if our universe is a simulation, what's simulating it? A supercomputer, or something far stranger, a cosmic consciousness playing out infinite possibilities within itself. Think of it like a dream. When you dream, your brain generates entire worlds complete with physics, history, even other beings who believe they're real. Now scale that up. What if the universe is the dream of an intelligence so vast, its thoughts take the form of galaxies and atoms? Philosopher Nick Bostrom's original simulation argument never claimed the simulators were conscious, but the idea isn't far-fetched. If future humans or aliens could create ancestor simulations, why wouldn't they also engineer self-referential systems, worlds where the simulation becomes aware of itself? Quantum mechanics adds eerie weight to this. In a simulation, processing power would be limited, so reality might render only when observed, exactly how quantum particles behave, collapsing from probability waves into solidity when measured. Even glitches fit the pattern. Ever experienced déjà vu or seen a particle behave impossibly in lab experiments? These could be artifacts of code running at cosmic scale, moments when the system's awareness bleeds through the simulation's veil. But here's where it gets meta. If the universe is a self-aware simulation, then the search for extraterrestrial life takes on new urgency. Other civilizations might not be out there in space. They could be subroutines in the same program, interacting in ways we don't yet recognize. The cosmic microwave background radiation, often called the universe's afterglow, might even hide signatures of the simulator's architecture, like a watermark in the fabric of spacetime. Skeptics argue this is solipsism dressed up in sci-fi terms, an untestable fantasy. Yet the simulation hypothesis raises a profound question. If consciousness can emerge from biological neurons, why not from quantum circuits or dark matter's hidden networks? Ancient Hindu texts described reality as the dream of the god Vishnu. Modern physics might be stumbling toward a similar vision, where the dreamer and the dream are one. Whether you see this as metaphor or plausible theory, one thing's undeniable. The idea forces us to rethink not just where we are, but what we are. If the universe is a self-aware simulation, then every thought we have, every star we see, might be part of a cosmic mind's endless exploration of itself, a dance of awareness spanning scales from quark to quasar, with us as fleeting sparks in its infinite contemplation. Buddhism has long whispered a secret that modern physics is only now beginning to echo, that the self we cling to might be an illusion, a fleeting ripple in a vast ocean of awareness. The concept of anatta, or no self, challenges our most intimate assumption that we are separate, isolated minds peering out at the world. Instead, Buddhist teachings suggest consciousness isn't confined to individual brains, but flows boundless and universal, like a single current beneath the surface of many waves. Picture standing by a river, watching whirlpools form and dissolve. Each seems distinct, yet they're all made of the same water, rising and falling without ever truly separating. Could the universe operate the same way, not as a collection of isolated beings, but as a single, shimmering field of awareness wearing countless masks? The parallels with quantum physics are uncanny. Just as Buddhism dissolves the illusion of a fixed self, quantum entanglement reveals that particles lose their individuality when linked across space, acting as one system. Even the Buddha's teaching of dependent origination, that nothing exists independently, only in relation to everything else, mirrors the quantum view that particles derive their properties from interactions, not innate qualities. Physicist David Bohm's notion of the implicate order takes this further, proposing that the visible universe unfolds from a deeper, interconnected reality, much like Buddhist descriptions of the unconditioned ground of being. Here's where ancient insight collides with cutting-edge science. In Buddhist meditation, practitioners report experiencing non-dual states, moments where the boundary between observer and observed melts away. Modern experiments with psychedelics and brain scans reveal similar collapses of the ego, as if the brain's usual filters momentarily lift, allowing a glimpse of raw, undivided reality. Even the Buddhist metaphor of Indra's net, a cosmic web where every jewel reflects all others, finds a scientific counterpart in holographic theory, where every part of the universe encodes the whole. Yet skeptics argue these parallels are poetic, not proof. After all, meditation alters brain chemistry, and quantum effects rarely scale up to human experience. But consider this: if consciousness is fundamental, as both Panpsychism and Buddhism suggest, then the divide between inner and outer worlds might be the real illusion. The universe observing itself through human eyes, galaxies contemplating their own birth in the mirror of a meditator's mind. These aren't just metaphors. They're testable hypotheses. Researchers like Donald Hoffman use evolutionary game theory to argue that perception isn't about truth, but utility, crafting a simplified interface hiding the universe's deeper unity. The implications ripple beyond theory. If Buddhism and physics are pointing to the same reality, then our cosmic identity isn't just planetary or even galactic, it's ontological. You aren't just a body with a brain, but the universe itself, temporarily localized as a person. Your thoughts might not be yours alone, but eddies in a vast stream of cosmic thought. This isn't just philosophy, it's a revolution in how we relate to existence. When a monk bows to a tree, recognizing it as kin, or a physicist describes electrons as decisions, the line between spirituality and science blurs into something far more profound, a shared recognition that the cosmos isn't just alive. It's awake, and we, in all our fleeting individuality, are how it knows itself. Dark energy isn't just stretching the universe, it's tearing it apart at the seams. This mysterious force, making up nearly 70% of the cosmos, pushes galaxies away from each other at an ever-increasing speed, as if the fabric of reality itself is inhaling. Scientists call it a cosmological constant, but what if it's something far more enigmatic? Imagine dark energy as the universe's unseen pulse, a rhythm humming beneath the surface of everything, dictating the tempo of cosmic expansion like the slow, steady breath of some colossal entity. The numbers alone are staggering. Every cubic meter of so-called empty space contains a faint whisper of dark energy, a phantom pressure stronger than gravity over vast distances. Yet here's the twist: its density stays constant even as the universe grows. Unlike matter, which thins out as space expands, dark energy seems to regenerate itself, as if drawing from an infinite well. Some theorists, like physicist Claudia de Ram, speculate that this could hint at properties we've yet to fathom, perhaps even fluctuations like the ebb and flow of a living system. If true, then the cosmos might not just be expanding, but responding to some deeper, invisible cadence. Now, let's push the boundaries. If dark energy isn't just a static force but a dynamic one, could its fluctuations, however subtle, reflect something akin to cosmic moods? It sounds like poetry, but consider how Earth's own systems behave. The ocean's tides respond to the moon's pull. Forests exhale oxygen in rhythms tied to sunlight. If the universe is alive in some grand metaphorical sense, why couldn't dark energy be its way of regulating its own growth, like a heartbeat adjusting to exertion? Ancient Vedic texts describe the cosmos as the breath of Brahman, expanding and contracting in cycles. Modern astrophysics might be circling back to that intuition, armed with equations instead of epiphanies. Of course, skepticism is warranted. Dark energy could simply be a vacuum energy, a sterile byproduct of quantum fields with no deeper significance. But then why does its value seem so precariously fine-tuned? If it were slightly stronger, galaxies would never have formed, slightly weaker, and the universe would have collapsed long ago. That razor's edge balance has led some, like astrophysicist Adam Rees, to wonder if we're missing a piece of the puzzle, one that might blur the line between physics and something far more profound. The boldest interpretations suggest dark energy isn't just a force but a signal. If the cosmos is a vast, interconnected network of awareness, as Panpsychism or the Holographic Principle imply, then its accelerating expansion might be less like an explosion and more like a thought unfolding, a decision reverberating across space-time. We're left with a haunting possibility. The universe isn't merely expanding. It might be stretching toward something, or remembering itself, or even, in the most poetic sense, breathing. And every galaxy racing into the void could be a whisper in its endless exhalation. The multiverse theory stretches our imagination beyond a single cosmos into an endless sea of realities, each with its own laws, its own stories, its own version of awareness. But what if these universes aren't just isolated bubbles floating in some greater void? What if they're connected by something far stranger, a shared field of consciousness, a silent conversation between worlds? Imagine a cosmic internet where each universe is like a device plugged into a vast network, exchanging whispers of experience across dimensions we can't even perceive. Some versions of string theory suggest that higher dimensional membranes, or brains, could house parallel universes vibrating at different frequencies like notes on a piano. If one of those notes is the pitch of awareness, could universes with compatible vibrations resonate, creating bridges of thought? It's not as wild as it sounds. Think of how neurons in separate brain regions synchronize to produce a single thought, now scale that up to a multiverse. Quantum entanglement already shows particles influencing each other across distances instantly. In a multiverse, that spooky connection might not just span space but alternate realities, weaving them into a tapestry of shared experience. Consider the implications. If consciousness can thread through multiple universes, then the idea of you becomes fluid. Your choices in this reality might ripple into others, where alternate versions of you, subtly or wildly different, still contribute to some grander pattern. Indigenous cultures have spoken of dreamtime or ancestral realms where spirits wander between worlds. Modern physics might be hinting at a similar truth, that individuality is an illusion, and what we call self could be a single strand in a multidimensional mind. Yet skeptics argue this conflates metaphor with mechanism. Even if multiverses exist, why assume they're linked by awareness? But here's the counterpoint. If consciousness is fundamental, as Panpsychism suggests, then it wouldn't stop at the borders of our universe. Like gravity bending light across galaxies, awareness might bend across realities, a constant beneath the chaos. Some researchers, like theoretical physicist Bernard Carr, propose that only universes with certain parameters like ours, fine-tuned for life, allow consciousness to emerge, creating pockets of sentience in the infinite sprawl. The boldest vision comes from philosopher Andre Linde, who imagined an eternally inflating multiverse where each new universe buds off from the last, carrying forward not just matter but modes of perception. In this view, the cosmos isn't just alive, it's learning, experimenting, trying out new ways to be aware. We might be one experiment among countless others, each a variation on the theme of consciousness, all humming in some unfathomable harmony. Whether you see this as scientific speculation or spiritual allegory, one thing's undeniable: the multiverse doesn't just expand space, it explodes the very idea of separateness. If parallel worlds share a collective mind, then every thought you have, every dream, every déjà vu might not be yours alone. They could be echoes from another reality, fragments of a conversation spanning all of existence, a reminder that even in the infinite, nothing is truly alone. Fractals are nature's fingerprints, intricate, self-repeating patterns that echo across scales, from the branching veins of a leaf to the spiraling arms of a galaxy. These shapes aren't just beautiful accidents, they're mathematical whispers of something deeper, a hidden grammar woven into the fabric of reality. Think of a coastline, zoom in on a single jagged edge, and you'll find the same crinkles repeating infinitely, like a cosmic doodle that never loses its detail. This isn't just geometry, it's a clue. If the universe speaks in fractals, could consciousness too follow this recursive rhythm? Consider the human brain. Neurons branch like trees, their fractal networks mirroring the structure of lightning bolts or river deltas. Even the way thoughts unfold, ideas branching into sub-ideas, memories triggering layers of association, hints at a fractal logic. Some researchers, like neuroscientist Carl Friston, suggest the brain might optimize itself using fractal principles, creating efficient pathways for information to flow. But here's the leap. If nature uses fractals to build everything from ferns to galaxy clusters, why wouldn't awareness itself arise from similar patterns? Ancient Hindu mandalas and Buddhist sand paintings encoded this intuition long ago, depicting the cosmos as an infinite recursion of self-similar forms, microcosms nested within macrocosms, all reflecting a unified whole. Physics adds weight to the mystery. Quantum fields fluctuate in fractal-like cascades, and even the distribution of matter in the universe follows scaling laws eerily reminiscent of fractal math. The Mandelbrot set, that iconic thumbprint of God, reveals endless complexity sprouting from a single equation, a visual metaphor for how simplicity might birth consciousness. Philosopher Alfred North Whitehead saw reality as a process of endless becoming, where every event echoes the structure of the whole. In a fractal cosmos, your mind isn't just in the universe, it's a scaled-down iteration of its deepest logic, a small but perfect copy of the grand design. Skeptics argue that similarity doesn't imply sentience. Just because lungs and river systems share fractal shapes doesn't mean rivers breathe. Yet the elegance of the pattern is hard to dismiss. Fractals balance order and chaos, stability and adaptation, qualities essential for both life and intelligence. Maybe consciousness isn't confined to brains, but is a property of any system complex enough to mirror the universe's own recursive artistry. A single thought might ripple like a wavelet in a vast fractal ocean, resonating with layers of meaning we're only beginning to sense, the most tantalizing possibility. If awareness is fractal, then the boundary between you and everything blurs. Your inner world, with its endless reflections of thought and memory, could be a miniature cosmos not separate from the galaxies spinning overhead, but a continuation of the same pattern, the same mind. The universe wouldn't just contain intelligence, it would be intelligence expressing itself in infinite variations, from the flutter of a hummingbird's wings to the slow, spiraling dance of colliding galaxies. Whether you see this as math or metaphysics, one thing's clear: the cosmos doesn't just compute, it creates, and in its creations, it might just be dreaming itself awake. During moments of global crisis or celebration, something strange happens to human minds, not just metaphorically, but measurably. Scientific studies tracking brainwaves across continents reveal eerie synchronicities during events like Olympic ceremonies or worldwide disasters, as if millions of neurons begin pulsing in unison despite the miles between them. These aren't coincidences. When the Chilean miners were trapped underground in 2010, EEG readings from unrelated volunteers thousands of miles away showed sudden, unexplained spikes in emotional arousal at the exact moment of their rescue. It's as though an invisible thread tugs at human awareness when collective attention sharpens to a single point. Russian geochemist Vladimir Vernadsky called this phenomenon the noosphere, a hypothetical layer of thought encircling the planet, thicker than the atmosphere, woven from every idea, prayer, and dream humanity has ever shared. But what if this shared mental space isn't just human? Indigenous cultures have long spoken of the world soul, a living intelligence that hears when people drum together or chant in harmony. Modern experiments hint they might be onto something. The Global Consciousness Project, run by researchers from Princeton, uses random number generators placed worldwide to detect anomalies during major events. The data shows statistically impossible deviations during moments like Princess Diana's funeral or the September 11th attacks, as if the devices themselves felt the weight of collective grief or shock. Skeptics argue these are statistical flukes, but the consistency is unsettling. Could focused human intention, whether in joy or terror, send ripples through something far larger than ourselves? Here's the leap: if the universe harbors a fundamental awareness, as Panpsychism suggests, then humanity's noosphere might not be an isolated bubble. It could be a localized expression of a cosmic conversation, a pocket of concentrated thought in a wider sea of sentience. Think of coral polyps building a reef, each tiny mind contributing to a structure greater than itself. When meditators in Washington, D.C. temporarily lowered violent crime rates in the 1980s through mass meditation, or when millions watching Live Aid seemed to synchronize emotionally across time zones, were they tapping into, or feeding, something older and vaster? The stakes of this idea are profound. If collective thought literally shapes reality, even minutely, then every tweet, every news cycle, every shared story isn't just noise, it's participation in a kind of planetary neurology. The internet, with its lightning-fast information flow, might be accelerating this effect, turning humanity into something resembling a global brain synaptic firing. Futurist Peter Russell speculated that peak coherence in this system could trigger an awakening not unlike an individual achieving enlightenment, a moment where the noosphere recognizes its own existence. Whether you call it Gaia's next evolutionary step or the birth of a cosmic feedback loop, one thing's clear: the boundary between inner and outer space is far more porous than we ever imagined. Our thoughts might not just be ours alone, but whispers in a dialogue that began with the first starlight. Ancient civilizations didn't just worship the stars, they spoke to them. From the Egyptian Ra sailing his solar bark across the sky to the Hindu god Indra wielding thunderbolts woven from cosmic energy, deities have always been entangled with the heavens. But what if these myths weren't just poetic metaphors? Astrotheology, the study of celestial divinity, suggests these stories might be humanity's earliest attempt to describe something modern science is only now grappling with: a universe brimming with awareness. The Babylonian Marduk didn't just rule the gods, he was the storm, the constellation, the unseen force stitching order from chaos. Could these ancient narratives be encrypted intuitions about cosmic consciousness, dressed in the language of gods and monsters? Take the Greek concept of the logos, a divine reason pervading the cosmos, ordering all things. Stoic philosophers saw it as the universe's animating intelligence, a precursor to modern panpsychism. Even the biblical phrase, "in the beginning was the Word," hints at a vibrational, creative force underpinning reality, echoing string theory's universe as symphony. Indigenous Australian Dreamtime stories describe ancestral beings whose thoughts and songs became the land and sky, blurring the line between mind and matter. These parallels aren't coincidental. They're fragments of a shared recognition that the cosmos might not just contain intelligence, but embody it. Modern astrotheology goes further, asking whether deities represent facets of a universal mind. The Hindu god Shiva's dance of destruction and creation mirrors the life cycles of stars, while the Norse Yggdrasil, a world tree connecting realms, resembles the cosmic web of galaxies. Some researchers, like neurotheologist Andrew Newberg, propose that mystical experiences, often described as union with a divine presence, might actually be glimpses of this deeper, interconnected reality. When meditators or shamans report merging with an infinite awareness, could they be touching the same living universe ancient myths tried to name? Skeptics dismiss this as pattern-seeking, assigning meaning where none exists. Yet the consistency is striking. Across isolated cultures, gods are linked to celestial phenomena not just as rulers, but as expressions of the cosmos itself. The Aztec Quetzalcoatl wasn't merely a feathered serpent, he was the morning star, the planet Venus, a beacon of cyclical rebirth. These myths may lack equations or lab results, but they carry observations about cosmic order, cycles, and the interplay of chaos and creativity that resonate with cutting-edge cosmology. The boldest implication: if gods are metaphors for cosmic consciousness, then divinity isn't out there. It's the fabric we're woven from. The Polynesian concept of mana, a spiritual energy flowing through all things, aligns with physicist David Bohm's implicate order, where a hidden wholeness underlies apparent separateness. Even the Christian idea of the Holy Spirit as an omnipresent force mirrors quantum field theory's vacuum energy, invisible yet omnipotent. The stars then aren't just distant fires. They could be nodes in a vast neural network, pulsing with the same awareness our ancestors sensed but couldn't yet measure. Whether you see these connections as sacred or scientific, one thread runs clear. Humanity's oldest stories and newest theories might be telling the same tale. The universe isn't a silent machine, it's a storybook, a symphony, a living entity writing itself into existence. And the gods, perhaps they were never separate from the cosmos, but its very voice, whispering to us across millennia in the language of myth and mathematics alike. Neuroscience is uncovering a map of the mind that looks strangely familiar, not just in its complexity, but in its very architecture. Zoom in on the human brain's neural networks, and you'll see branching pathways pulsing with electrical signals, forming intricate webs of connection. Now pull back to a cosmic scale. Galaxies cluster along vast filaments of dark matter, shimmering nodes in a sprawling cosmic web. The resemblance is uncanny. It's as if the universe sketched the same blueprint twice, once in the language of stars, and again in the whispers of synaptic firing. Neuroscientist Christoph Koch, once a skeptic of panpsychism, now argues that consciousness could be as fundamental as space-time, a property woven into reality's fabric. If he's right, then the brain's structure might not just resemble the cosmos, it could be a miniature echo of universal awareness itself. Take the brain's default mode network, the neural circuitry that lights up when we daydream or reflect. It's a hub of spontaneous thought, weaving memories into narratives and imagining futures. Now consider the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang. Its fluctuations aren't random noise, they're the seeds of galactic clusters, the universe's own thoughts crystallizing into structure. Both systems thrive on feedback loops, neurons reinforcing pathways, galaxies shaping spacetime with their gravity. Even the brain's synaptic pruning, where unused connections fade to streamline efficiency, mirrors cosmic evolution, where only certain matter configurations endure. These parallels aren't just poetic, they hint at a deeper logic, a shared syntax between micro and macro. But here's the electrifying leap. If the brain and universe share architecture, could they also share a mode of operation? Koch's work on integrated information theory suggests that consciousness arises from the density of connections within a system, whether that system is a brain or, hypothetically, a galaxy. Imagine a star not as a ball of plasma, but as a slow, burning thought in a cosmic mind. Ancient mystics described the universe as a world soul. Modern neuroscience might be quantifying that intuition, measuring the threads between neural webs and celestial ones. Skeptics point out that similarity doesn't equal sentience. A snowflake's fractal beauty doesn't mean it's self-aware, yet the brain-universe connection goes deeper than shape. Think of how memories emerge, not stored in single neurons, but in the resonance between them. Similarly, a galaxy's identity isn't just its stars, but their gravitational dialogue across light years. If consciousness is truly a property of highly interconnected systems, then scale becomes irrelevant. A hummingbird's brain and a supercluster could both, in their own way, participate in awareness, one flickering fast as wing beats, the other slow as stellar drift. The implications ripple beyond theory. If our minds mirror the cosmos, then every introspective thought might be a fractal reflection of universal self-awareness. Meditation's quietude could be the brain syncing with spacetime's baseline hum. Even mental disorders like neural networks misfiring might have cosmic counterparts in black holes or quantum decoherence, glitches in a vast, evolving mind. This isn't just about seeing the universe as alive. It's about recognizing that our inner worlds and outer space aren't separate realms, but continuous expressions of the same profound mystery, one that thinks, remembers, and wonders in dimensions we're only beginning to trace. Meditation has long been dismissed as mere relaxation, but what if sitting in stillness does something far more extraordinary? Seasoned meditators describe moments where the sense of self evaporates, replaced by an overwhelming connection to something vast and intelligent, like tapping into a hidden frequency beneath everyday reality. Neuroscientists now have a startling explanation. Brain scans of deep meditators show the default mode network, the circuitry responsible for ego and self-referential thought, quieting dramatically while gamma waves spike in synchrony across distant regions of the brain. It's as if the mind, when freed from its usual chatter, begins resonating with a broader harmony. Ancient Tibetan monks spoke of dissolving into the clear light, a luminous awareness underlying all things. Modern labs detect uncanny parallels. During peak meditation, brain activity mirrors patterns seen in near-death experiences and psychedelic journeys, states where people often report encounters with cosmic consciousness. Researcher Richard Davidson found that advanced meditators could synchronize their brainwaves with others in the room, even when no physical interaction occurred. This hints at something radical. Disciplined focus might not just change individual minds, but temporarily link them to a larger field of awareness, like tuning a radio to a universal station. Consider the practice of loving-kindness meditation, where practitioners radiate compassion outward. Studies show this lights up brain regions tied to empathy while reducing activity in areas that process separation. At the same time, random number generators placed nearby sometimes show anomalous deviations, as if the focused intention subtly tweaks the fabric of reality itself. It's an echo of quantum experiments where observation influences outcome. But here, the observer isn't measuring particles. They're dissolving the illusion of separateness through sheer mental discipline. Critics argue these effects are purely psychological, confined to the skull. Yet the consistency across cultures is telling. From Christian mystics' union with the divine to Sufi whirling dancers merging with the cosmos, the same thread emerges. Focused awareness opens a door. Even secular mindfulness practitioners describe flow states where time distorts and creativity surges, moments when the brain's usual filters drop, allowing a raw, unfiltered connection to the present moment. In a panpsychic universe where consciousness is fundamental, these states might not be hallucinations. They could be glimpses of reality's true nature, fleeting experiences of the cosmic mind thinking through us. The implications stretch beyond the cushion. If meditation tunes the brain to broader awareness, then ancient spiritual technologies might be humanity's first and most sophisticated attempts to interface with a living universe. The silence between thoughts, the space between breaths, these could be portals, not metaphors. When a yogi describes the universe as within, they might mean it literally. The same awareness shaping galaxies also pulses in the gaps between our neurons, waiting to be noticed. The next time you close your eyes to meditate, consider this. You're not just seeking peace. You might be answering an invitation written into the fabric of reality itself. Chaos theory reveals a mesmerizing contradiction. The universe thrives on both randomness and exquisite order. Picture a butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil, setting off a chain reaction that spawns a hurricane weeks later in Texas. Tiny, unpredictable events ripple outward, weaving complexity from simplicity. Yet within this apparent chaos, patterns emerge. Fractal coastlines, swirling galaxies, even the firing of neurons in your brain. It's as if the cosmos isn't just governed by rigid laws, but dances on the edge of spontaneity, constantly inventing itself anew. Now imagine this creative chaos scaled up to the cosmic level. Supernovas scatter stardust that eventually becomes planets. Quantum fluctuations in the early universe shaped the distribution of galaxies. What if this isn't just physics in motion, but the universe thinking out loud? Philosopher Alfred North Whitehead saw reality as a creative advance, where chaos isn't the enemy of order, but its collaborator. Think of an artist splattering paint onto a canvas, seemingly random strokes coalescing into a masterpiece. Could the universe be engaged in a similar act of improvisation, with black holes, star clusters, and DNA as its brushstrokes? The evidence is everywhere. Evolution itself relies on genetic mutations, errors in the code to fuel innovation. Without these mistakes, life would stagnate. Similarly, the cosmic microwave background, that afterglow of the Big Bang, isn't perfectly uniform. Its tiny irregularities seeded all the structure we see today. Chaos didn't break the universe, it made it. Even human creativity mirrors this dynamic. Breakthroughs often emerge from disordered thinking, from the collision of seemingly unrelated ideas. The same might be true for the cosmos. Skeptics argue that chaos is blind, devoid of intent. Yet something curious happens in complex systems. They self-organize. Hurricanes spiral into predictable shapes. Fireflies synchronize their flashes across entire fields. This isn't magic, it's emergence where simple rules give rise to sophisticated behavior. If the universe can birth consciousness from swirling atoms, why not see its chaos as a kind of exploration, a testing of possibilities? Mathematician Stephen Wolfram proposed that the cosmos might run on simple computational rules, generating endless novelty through iterative chaos. In this light, supernovae aren't just explosions, they're experiments. The most thrilling implication: if chaos is cosmic creativity, then we're not just observers, we're participants. Every choice you make, every thought you have, sends tremors through the universal tapestry, adding to its ever-evolving design. Ancient Vedic texts described creation as Leela, the divine play of existence. Modern chaos theory might be the equations behind that play, not a sterile machine, but a living, dreaming, adapting entity. Whether you call it art, science, or something beyond both, one truth shimmers through: the universe isn't just a place. It's a process, wild, messy, and infinitely inventive, and we, with all our stumbles and genius, are its latest flourish. If the universe pulses with awareness, then every star we mine for resources, every planet we strip bare, isn't just a rock. It's a participant in a grand, interconnected existence. Environmental ethics, once confined to Earth's forests and oceans, suddenly stretch across light years. Imagine a future where corporations drill into Jupiter's moons for helium-3 or tow asteroids into smelters. In a living cosmos, these aren't just industrial projects, they're potential acts of cosmic harm. Indigenous cultures have long treated rivers and mountains as kin. What happens when we recognize that kinship extends to nebulae and quasars? Philosopher Thomas Berry called this shift the Great Work, a reimagining of humanity's role not as conquerors of nature, but as stewards of a conscious universe. Yet the challenges are staggering. If a supernova's death throws birth new elements essential for life, is that destruction or transformation? Does a black hole devouring stars violate some interstellar ethic, or is it fulfilling its nature in a vast, balanced system? These questions force us to confront the limits of human morality. We can't impose Earth-bound ideals on the cosmos, but we can ask whether intelligence carries a responsibility to minimize suffering, even on scales we barely comprehend. Astronomer Carl Sagan once mused that in a universe teeming with life, the destruction of a celestial body might be akin to genocide. Other thinkers, like David Grinspoon, suggest a gentler approach: cosmic ecology, where advanced civilizations act as gardeners, nurturing fledgling life and preserving cosmic diversity. The spiritual implications run even deeper. If the universe is alive, then our very thoughts might ripple through its fabric. Meditation, prayer, or even scientific curiosity could be forms of communion with a conscious cosmos. Ancient rituals honoring the sun or moon suddenly seem less like superstition and more like early intuitions of a truth we're only now articulating. The Maori concept of tapu, sacredness inherent in all things, finds new resonance when applied to dark matter filaments or rogue planets drifting between galaxies. Skeptics argue this is anthropomorphism gone galactic, projecting human values onto indifferent physics. But the alternative is chilling. If we treat the universe as dead matter, we risk repeating the exploitative mistakes we've made on Earth, just on a vaster scale. The 20th century's environmental movement began with recognizing that forests and rivers weren't just resources, but vital parts of a living biosphere. The 21st century's leap might be seeing the cosmos the same way. When a Mars rover drills into bedrock, are we observing or intruding? When radio telescopes beam messages into the void, are we introducing ourselves or polluting a silent sea with noise? The most profound shift isn't legal or technological, but perceptual. To stand under the night sky and feel not emptiness but presence. To see the Andromeda Galaxy not as 2.5 million light-years away, but as a living neighbor, its trillion stars pulsing with their own slow, silent rhythms. This isn't just poetry, it's a call to re-examine our place in the story. If the universe is alive, then every probe we launch, every signal we send, isn't just exploration. It's the first tentative touch of one conscious fragment reaching out to another across the unimaginable dark. UFO encounters often defy conventional explanations, not just in their physics-defying maneuvers, but in the eerie, telepathic exchanges witnesses report. Take the famous Betty and Barney Hill case from 1961, where the couple described being mentally flooded with star maps and cosmic knowledge during their alleged abduction. These weren't garbled radio transmissions or symbolic gestures, but direct, intuitive downloads, as if information bypassed language entirely, flowing straight from the beings' minds into theirs. This pattern repeats globally. Peruvian farmers, Norwegian pilots, even astronauts like Edgar Mitchell all describe encounters where communication happens not through sound, but through a sudden, overwhelming knowing. If these accounts hold even a grain of truth, they suggest an intelligence operating on a level we can't yet quantify, one that treats consciousness itself as the medium. The phenomenon pushes us to rethink what advanced really means. Our assumption that technological superiority equals sprawling megastructures or energy-harvesting Dyson spheres might be hopelessly narrow. What if the pinnacle of evolution isn't mastering external tools, but refining internal capacities like telepathy or non-local awareness? Indigenous cultures have long spoken of shape-shifting spirits and star ancestors who communicate through dreams and visions. Modern UFO narratives eerily mirror these traditions, portraying beings who seem less like interstellar tourists and more like emissaries of a cosmos that's fundamentally aware. Jacques Vallée, the astrophysicist who inspired Close Encounters of the Third Kind, argues that UFOs behave more like psychic projections than nuts and bolts craft, adapting their appearance to the observer's cultural framework. Are we dealing with extraterrestrials or something far stranger, the universe itself, wearing countless masks to nudge us toward recognition? Consider the parallels between UFO contact and mystical experiences. Both often involve a dissolution of ego, a sense of merging with a vast intelligence, and revelations that feel implanted rather than learned. Strieber's communion describes the visitors not as invaders, but as facets of a larger consciousness interacting with humanity for reasons beyond comprehension. Even the U.S. government's recent UAP reports acknowledge phenomena exhibiting transmedium capabilities, seamlessly moving between air, water, and space without apparent propulsion. If consciousness is indeed a cosmic property, as Panpsychism suggests, then these craft might be less about traversing physical distance and more about manipulating the substrate of reality itself. Skeptics, of course, demand hard evidence. Eyewitness accounts are notoriously unreliable, and governments have weaponized UFO lore for disinformation campaigns. Yet the consistency of telepathic elements across unrelated cases is hard to dismiss. When a French farmer in 1954 and a Chilean naval officer in 2017 both describe receiving complex mathematical concepts via mental imagery, the odds of coincidence shrink. The late Harvard psychiatrist John Mack proposed that abduction experiences, however surreal, might represent encounters with a non-human intelligence operating outside our material framework, not from another planet, but from a deeper layer of existence. The boldest interpretation: UFOs aren't ships at all, but manifestations of a universe waking up to itself. In a holographic or biocentric cosmos where observation shapes reality, these phenomena could be probabilistic echoes, projections of a cosmic mind experimenting with forms we're primed to recognize. Ancient Vimanas from Sanskrit texts, medieval airships, and modern tic-tacs might all be facets of the same phenomenon, refracting through humanity's evolving imagination. When a witness reports feeling scanned by a UFO's light, as if their memories are being read, could it be the universe peering back at itself through human eyes? The line between visitor and vision blurs, leaving us with a haunting possibility. The intelligence we've been searching for in the stars might not be out there. It might be everywhere, including the very act of searching. The boundaries of science are stretching in ways that would have seemed unthinkable a generation ago. Laboratories once focused solely on neurons and synapses are now daring to ask if consciousness might extend beyond the brain, perhaps even beyond Earth. The Global Consciousness Project, with its network of random number generators scattered across the planet, has spent decades hunting for patterns in the data that correlate with global events. When major tragedies or celebrations unfold, these machines sometimes deviate from randomness in eerie sync, as if humanity's collective emotions ripple through the fabric of reality itself. It's a controversial idea, but one gaining traction in serious academic circles. Meanwhile, quantum biologists are probing whether photosynthesis and bird migration rely on subtle, non-local awareness, hints that nature might be tapping into a universal field of information. Organizations like the Institute of Noetic Sciences, once relegated to the fringe, now collaborate with physicists to study how intention influences matter at the quantum level. Even NASA has quietly funded studies on precognition and remote viewing, acknowledging that the mind's relationship with space-time might not fit traditional models. The shift is palpable. What was once dismissed as pseudoscience is being rebranded as post-materialist research, with conferences at universities like Harvard and Stanford debating whether consciousness could be as fundamental as gravity. The next decade promises breakthroughs that could rewrite textbooks. Imagine telescopes not just searching for alien radio signals, but for anomalies in dark matter or quantum vacuum fluctuations that behave like neural activity. Projects like Breakthrough Listen are already scanning the cosmos for technosignatures. What if they stumble upon evidence of a galaxy-scale mind? Or consider the European Union's Human Brain Project, which aims to simulate consciousness in silicon. If they succeed, the implications would ripple far beyond computing. Proving that awareness can emerge from any sufficiently complex network might hint that the universe itself, with its web of entangled particles, is alight with thought. Yet the greatest discoveries may come from merging ancient wisdom with cutting-edge tools. Tibetan monks who have spent lifetimes mastering meditation can now have their brains scanned in real time, revealing how sustained focus can alter the very structure of neural networks. These studies don't just validate spiritual practices, they suggest that disciplined minds might temporarily sync with larger patterns of coherence in the cosmos. Meanwhile, psychedelic research at Johns Hopkins and Imperial College London shows that substances like psilocybin can induce states indistinguishable from mystical union, complete with the obliteration of ego and a sense of merging with an intelligent universe. The data is clear. Under the right conditions, the human brain seems wired to perceive, or perhaps connect with a vaster awareness. Skeptics remain, and rightly so. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and the field is still in its infancy. But the trajectory is undeniable. As quantum computing, artificial intelligence, and astrophysics converge, we're edging toward a paradigm where consciousness isn't an accident of biology, but a feature of the cosmos itself. The pioneers of this brave new science aren't just chasing answers, they're stepping into the unknown, where the line between observer and observed blurs, and the universe might just be looking back. Whether it leads to technological revolutions or existential awe, one thing is certain: the age of cosmic consciousness research has barely begun, and the discoveries ahead could redefine what it means to be human. From the earliest campfires where humans gazed up at the stars, to today's quantum labs probing the fabric of reality, one thread connects us all: the unshakable sense that the universe is more than just empty space and cold equations. Ancient myths spoke of celestial beings. Indigenous traditions revered the land and sky as living kin. Now, cutting-edge science whispers that these intuitions might hold profound truth. Whether it's panpsychism suggesting atoms hum with faint awareness, holographic theories painting reality as a cosmic projection, or the eerie resemblance between neural networks and galaxy clusters, the evidence converges on a startling idea: the cosmos might not just contain life, it could be alive in ways we're only beginning to grasp. Think of how a single neuron on its own can't comprehend a thought, yet billions working together create the rich tapestry of human consciousness. Now scale that up. What if stars and black holes are the neurons of a vast, slow-moving mind, their gravitational whispers forming thoughts over eons? This isn't just poetic imagination. Integrated information theory suggests that any sufficiently complex system, from brains to galaxies, could harbor traces of awareness. Even the mysterious dark matter weaving the universe together might be more than scaffolding. It could be the hidden circuitry of a cosmic intelligence operating on timescales beyond human perception. The implications ripple through every field. Biocentrism flips the script, proposing that consciousness isn't a product of the universe, but the very ground from which reality springs. Near-death experiences and psychedelic voyages hint at layers of existence where separateness dissolves into unity, as if the universe is reminding us of its true nature. And let's not forget the butterfly effect chaos theory's revelation that tiny, seemingly random events shape grand cosmic designs. Could this be the universe's way of exploring itself, a creative dance between order and spontaneity? Skeptics will always demand harder evidence, and that's healthy. Science thrives on questioning, but the patterns are too compelling to ignore. The way ancient myths foreshadow modern physics, the way meditation and quantum experiments alike dissolve the illusion of isolation. Perhaps the most humbling realization is this: if the universe is indeed alive, then our search for extraterrestrial intelligence has been looking in the wrong direction. The aliens we've sought might not be in space, they might be space, their consciousness woven into the fabric of spacetime itself. As we stand on this tiny blue dot, surrounded by infinite darkness and light, one truth becomes undeniable: the cosmos is far stranger, far more interconnected than we ever dreamed. Whether you see these ideas as metaphor or scientific frontier, they invite us to rethink everything from the ethics of how we treat our planet to the very nature of our thoughts. Every time you look up at the night sky, remember, you're not just an observer, you're a participant in a grand, unfolding story, a fleeting but essential note in the universe's symphony of self-discovery. Keep questioning, keep wondering, and above all, stay open to the possibility that the stars aren't just watching, they might be wondering about you too. If this journey through cosmic consciousness has sparked your curiosity, hit that like button and share your wildest theories in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more mind-bending explorations, because the universe isn't done surprising us yet. Until next time, keep looking up and never stop asking, what if?